Hello students, today we will see a very important and interesting topic, that is pain. Just uttering the word pain sorts of gives us some kind of reaction inside us, because each and every one of us has at one time or the other experienced pain. This pain is a universal phenomena, and in fact if you do not experience pain, that is considered as disease. Experiencing pain is a healthy phenomena. We will see how. So, in this lesson we are going to see how we can define pain and understand pain. We will also see the various classifications of pain. Apart from that, we will also see the physiology that is involved in pain, and finally we are going to see the psychosocial factors that are involved in the experience of pain. Pain can be defined as an unpleasant sensory and emotional condition which is a result of some tissue damage or some kind of hurt or any other kind of disturbance in the central nervous system. This pain is consistent across all age groups, and as I already told, it is universal in nature. But however, the way in which people react to pain differs from individuals to individual. Pain, although we have seen, is universal, and probably it is being experienced from time immemorial. It is only recently that pain is considered as a condition by itself. Earlier they used to consider what causes pain as a condition or as a disorder, but today just pain by itself is considered a condition, and this varies from person to person in their experience. And let us see what is involved in the experience of pain. Please have a look at slide. In this you can see that three systems interact usually to produce pain. What are those three systems? As you can see here, the first one is sensory system, second is motivational, and the third is cognitive. So, you can see the role of psychology also here apart from physiology in the experience of pain. Coming to sensory, it is a discriminative system. It processes information about the strength, intensity, quality and temporal and spatial aspects of pain. So, sensory experience of pain means what is the location of the pain. So, which part of the body is experiencing this pain, and the intensity of the pain, the duration or the spatial aspect of the pain, that is it only limited say to my right leg, or is it spreading towards the thighs and also into the right abdomen, and things like that. All this constitutes the sensory aspect in the experience of pain. Coming to the second one, that is the motivational aspect of pain, it is, as you can see in the slide, the affective component or the affective component, emotions are involved here. So, this motivational component, it determines the individual's approach avoidance behavior. And going on to the third component, one of the very important components again in the experience of pain is cognitive component, and this is considered as the evaluative system. And this cognitive component is mostly affected by the kind of past experiences that we have about pain. So, if suppose you had a severe stomachache earlier, and this time when even small ache starts in your stomach, you overreact to it because you are reminded of the severe pain that you had a few days back. If you did not have that severe pain experience, now probably the stomach ache, now you may not really give much of importance and you do not overreact to that. So, the cognitive component involves all these factors, especially to do with our past experience. Not only that, what others say about that particular thing. For example, you might have heard someone say that if you get pain say in the right side of the stomach, probably you will be having this suffering from appendicitis, and within 24 hours if you do not get operated you might die. So, because you have this knowledge, for some reason you have the stomach pain in that area, then you suddenly might overreact, call all the doctors that you know, rush to the hospital. There are in fact many cases, especially parents with small children, when they complain about any stomach ache, they immediately rush them to the hospital with the fear that it might be appendicitis. So, cognitive factors have a lot of role to play in the experience of pain. Now, when we say pain, for all of us it is a negative experience, no one likes it, and we take all measures to get out of it, the sooner the better. But health psychologists have found that there is a role that pain plays. For example, if suppose we suddenly touch a hot iron rod, if we do not feel pain, we will not remove our finger immediately. So, if there are some condition where they lose a sense of pain, for example, in the case of leprosy patients, because they do not have pain, sense of pain in their limbs, there are many cases where they overburnt their hands or legs and it resulted in amputation. So, experiencing pain helps us to move away from dangerous situations and dangerous conditions. Not only that, if suppose we have pain in the joints, for example, that will restrict our movement. If we do not have pain, why does pain come in the joints? Because of some problem in the muscular system or within the body. So, because of that problem, pain comes. And because of this pain, we will take some rest, giving the body a chance to recoup and overcome that problem. If pain is not there, then people will not take rest, and because they do not take rest, their health cannot be recouped. So, pain serves this important function too. Apart from that, pain is teaches us what to avoid and what not to avoid, because during our childhood when we touch the candle light, it burnt us. So, that teaches us never to go near fire. So, that learning experience helps us to involve ourselves in safe behavior practices. So, pain serves that function too. But in spite of all these functions that pain serves, however, pain by itself is a problem situation. So, that is why health psychologists try to understand more about pain. If we try to identify the different types of pain, then we can see how to overcome pain. So, that is why health psychologists try to categorize the various kinds of pain. The two most important classifications are acute pain and chronic pain. So, acute pain is something that has a sudden onset, that means it starts suddenly, and it is usually the duration of acute pain is for less than 6 months, and acute pain always has some physiological cause. It is localized, and also after that disease condition is overcome by the individual, or when the disease goes away, the individual returns to normal activity and will no longer experience that acute pain. And acute pain is treated in a different manner when compared with the other kind of pain, which is called chronic pain. Chronic pain has a slow onset. Slowly the pain keeps on increasing, and the duration of chronic pain is for more than 6 months, and also sometimes we cannot localize the exact reason for this chronic pain. Now, let us see what are some of the symptoms that are associated with acute pain. Please have a look at slide. The list of all the symptoms or responses to acute pain are given. You can see that there is increased heart rate, increased respiratory rate, BP is elevated, and there is also dilation of pupils as a response to acute pain. In the same slide, you can also see that the gastric acid secretion decreases, gastric motility also decreases, and there is decrease of blood flow to the viscera like kidneys and skin, and occasionally nausea also results. Coming to psychological and behavioral responses to acute pain, people feel lot of fear and anxiety, and there is also generalized sense of unpleasantness that is experienced as a result of acute pain. So, when the person undergoes acute pain or experiences acute pain, you can see that there is a lot of other changes that takes place in the person's condition. So, that is why it is not good to be in a state of acute pain for a long time, because many important functions of the body are temporarily they are stopped sort of, or they lower in functioning. So, acute pain has to be treated immediately, and if the pain continues for say more than 6 months, it no longer comes under the category of acute pain, but it will be considered as chronic pain. Chronic pain on the other hand, it is for a long period of time, and because of the long duration of time, many of the patients who suffer from chronic pain, they gradually lose interest in their life. They become depressive because they experience learned helplessness, and whatever they do, it seems like the pain is still continuing, because there is no tissue damage that can be directly treated in the case of chronic pain. Many times the reason also it is difficult for the physician to identify, and even if the reason is identified, the treatment will be in such a manner that the important changes in the body, other important changes will be looked into first, and chronic pain is just kept in the sidelines. For example, the person is suffering from say a major heart attack. Now, pain is a part of that, but the primary treatment will be in preventing the heart attack or in repairing the heart rather than on the pain that is involved. So, sometimes heart attack pain comes initially into the acute pain, but if it is the heart condition continues for more than 6 months, then it is classified as chronic pain. Now, in this chronic pain, because it is for a long duration, sometimes even it goes on to some years together. Some years together people continue to have that pain, and they sort of live with that pain sometimes. If suppose say back pain, many women have back pain and other muscular cramps, and for years together, and many of them live with that pain. For example, migraine. There will be many people who get this migraine say even from their childhood, but in some cases this chronic pain also can become so intense that all the other functions that they do in their life are also disrupted because of that. Because of this continuous pain, many times the person has to give up their job, and they cannot enjoy their life, they cannot go out like everyone. So, that is why it also results in depression, and there are some cases both in the case of chronic pain as well as acute pain, who individuals, some of these patients commit suicide because they are not able to understand the pain in the right perspective. Now, coming to the different categories of chronic pain, there are different categories that are listed by health psychologists. The first one is chronic recurrent pain. where the pain is there continuously over a period of time, and it keeps, although it subsides little, it keeps on coming again and again. For example, migraine. The second category of chronic pain is a situation where the pain is continuously there all throughout, unlike the first condition where they get some relapse in between only, and so there are pain free periods. But in the second chronic pain condition, the pain is there continuously, but however the intensity of the pain keeps on varying. Like sometimes it will be severe in intensity, but sometimes it will be not so severe. And the best example can be people suffering from low back pain. Sometimes when they exert themselves too much, or when they sit in the wrong posture for a long time, the pain increases in intensity. But otherwise, when they adopt the right posture and do enough exercises, the pain will be in controllable levels. Coming to the third kind of category of chronic pain, it is called chronic progressive pain. In this kind of pain, the pain is continuous and the intensity also keeps on increasing. As the conditions worsens, the pain is continuously there and it keeps on increasing. So, this is the worst condition of chronic pain. There are two different categories. One is the somatogenic pain, where the origin of the pain is within the body, and this somatogenic pain can be of two types: nociceptive pain and neuropathic pain. We will see details of both little later. And the second type of pain is psychogenic, where the cause for the pain is not in the biology or physiology, but is psychological in nature. So, nothing might be wrong in the system physically, but still the person experiences pain. So, here pain is of unknown origin and because of psychological causes. Now, let us go into more details about the somatogenic pain category. The first one here is nociceptive pain. Nociception is defined as the detection of tissue damage by specialized transducers connected to A delta and C fibers. And in nociceptive pain, it is proportionate to the stimulation of the nociceptors. Nociceptors are the nerves in the periphery of the body. So, whenever something happens, say something pricks our skin, it is the nociceptors that recognize this change, and they are the ones which carry information to the brain, and then we experience pain. So, the nociceptive pain is directly proportionate to the extent of stimulation. Like if suppose there is only small pressure that we feel on the skin, then those many nociceptors are only stimulated. But if the pressure is more to such a point when it causes discomfort and pain to us, then so many nociceptors will be activated. And this nociceptive pain, another characteristic feature is it serves as a protective function. Because we find something as burning in our hand, we try to remove that hand. So, nociceptive pain is a normal pain and it is helpful because it protects us from many dangers. Going on to the next one, the neuropathic pain. Unlike the nociceptive pain, here the origin of pain is within the central nervous system and PNS. So, something is disturbed or something, there is some pathogenic factor inside the body, and because of that pain comes. And this pain is not proportionate to the kind of stimulation of the nociceptor. So, sometimes even for a small stimulation also, a person might experience great pain. And this pain is pathological, it is not normal pain, and it does not help serve a protective function unlike the nociceptor pain. And there is another category of pain which is called mixed pain, where both nociceptive pain and the neuropathic pain are involved. Say for example, because of some surgery, the person feels pain in that part of the body, but also because of that surgery there might the surgeon might have cut some other nerve going to the hand, for example, say. The person will also start experiencing this nociceptive pain apart from the neuropathic pain. So, mixed pain, both these kind of pains are stimulated in the body. Another kind of pain is also there, which is called idiopathic pain, where no cause is identified for the pain, either nociceptive or neuropathic. So, the pain is experienced by the person for some unknown reason. So, these are the different classifications of pain. In this you can see two different kinds of tracks, the peripheral and central pathways for pain. One is called the ascending track. So, in this the physiology of normal pain transmission involves some basic concepts that are necessary to understand. These include the concept of transduction of the first order afferent neuron nociceptors. So, it is a nociceptor neuron which relays information to the spinal cord, and from the spinal cord the nociceptor neuron carries this impulse to the dorsal horn specifically of the spinal cord, and also through the spinal interneurons with the second order afferent neurons to the spinal cord. And from there the second order neurons can transmit these impulses from the spinal cord through the brain via this particular route. Second order neurons ascend mostly via the spinothalamic tract up the spinal cord and terminate in higher neural structures, including the thalamus of the brain. Then the third order neurons originating from the thalamus transmit signals to the cerebral cortex, and various components or various parts of the cerebral cortex like reticular formation, midbrain, thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala, all these are involved in the understanding the pain, and they result in the experience of pain. So, that is the ascending track, how pain is understood, or the pain signals are carried to the brain. So, once these pain signals are carried to the brain, then the brain again keeps sending the information via the descending track. So, neurons originating from these cerebral areas synapse with the neuronal cells of the descending spinal pathways, which finally terminate in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. So, you can see that it is a spinal cord that is very much important in transmission and also for receiving signals from the brain in experience of pain. In the next slide, you can see the various processes that are involved, and pain transmission is done in 4 phases. The first is transduction phase, which begins when tissue damage causes the release of substances that stimulate the nociceptors and start the sensation of pain. Here in this diagram you can see that the man has an injury on his left arm, left finger in fact. So, here this is a site of transduction, and after this transduction happens, transmission is the next phase, which involves movement of the pain sensation to the spinal cord. So, the nociceptor neurons, you can see, carry this message via the route that is given in the figure and takes it to the spinal cord. And after this transmission phase, the perception phase begins, which occurs when pain impulses reach the brain and the pain is recognized. So, till the impulses reach the brain, the person does not experience much of a pain. And finally, the last stage called modulation occurs when neurons in the brain send signals back down the spinal cord by release of neurotransmitters. So, this is the exact process that happens in the perception of pain or the physiology that is involved in pain mechanism. There are so many psychosocial factors that are involved in the experience of pain. For example, age is one factor, and we know that infants and children have less tolerance for pain compared with elderly persons or adults. And when it comes to old age, health psychologists have understood that again the pain tolerance level decreases. So, during infancy and childhood it is high, and again during old age the level of pain tolerance decreases. Other psychosocial determinants are the culture. In some cultures pain is outwardly expressed, but in some cultures they do not appreciate people to make an outward appreciation of pain. For example, women are allowed to express their pain outside by crying and by making lot of fuss, but men in many cultures are not encouraged to overreact to pain. It is understood that men have to bear pain much more than compared with women. So, gender has an impact on pain behaviors. Other psychosocial factors involve the level of education and also the coping styles. Different people have different coping styles. Some their inward internal based coping styles where they try to make some inner changes in their own routines and things like that, and some people are based on external coping styles where they depend on others to help them overcome their pain. And other factors are certainly the amount of stress that a person has to undergo. People who have exposed to high stress prone jobs and also other professions with high stress, they are the ones who have less tolerance to pain compared with other people. Similarly, other environmental factors like the kind of pollution, the kind of pollution exposure, the kind of facilities that are provided also have an impact on the experience of pain. So, in this lesson we have not only seen the physiology of pain, but we have also discussed some of the psychosocial factors involved.